you want to be in my YouTube video?
I get
Stop! Are you filming me? Oh,
yeah, you goof. Let me do it.
This is why I shouldn't be doing this. Stop it. I'm not tall enough like you. It's not fair. Bye! So let's do a recap on Kaicon 2024 Brisbane Twilight Market. So as this was my very first time selling at an art convention, I wasn't expecting too much in return. I basically have been told not to really have any expectations going into it, but my main one was just simply hopefully to make back table. So that was really my only goal. I wasn't sure if I'd make a profit. I knew this event would not be as busy or as big as the last one in Brisbane that wasn't the night market, because this one was announced with a bit of late notice, as I think they were just trying to test the waters, and since the last one was like so successful, they wanted to put on another market, this time a night market, and see how that would do. But they really didn't give too much time before the event. They only announced it about maybe a little less than a month in advance, which is like barely any time for a convention. Usually they're announced like a year in advance, or at least like 8 months or something. So I had like 3 weeks to prepare for my very first convention, and I'd never even turned my art into products before. So it's fine. I love a good challenge. So luckily I had done a lot of research before this and have been wanting to start selling at conventions. So I knew I would make stickers, prints, like I knew the products I would make, as I mentioned earlier in the video. So my table cost was, I think, about $220, and I got a full table, not a half table, for my first time, which was like a bit risky, honestly, testing out the waters, but I was confident I could fill the full table and make back a table, hopefully. But actually, honestly, I just had no expectations going into it. I had no idea how my art would perform, like, really, yeah. This was like kind of my test run at doing conventions. So I'll put my costs up on screen. So my major costs were the table fee, of course, which was exactly $223 in total for a full table. The $3 was just like little extra tax, I guess. My entire product's cost was, for printing the stickers, it was $29.90. I bought from Vogres, not sure if I'm saying it right, but So I bought stock from them, so that included like pins and keychains, and that was $244.20 in total. And I did pay for fast shipping because I barely had any time before, and I was praying that I'd get the stock before the event, which luckily I did, thank God. Don't do what I do, plan in advance, but like I had no idea I was gonna do this con, so I was kind of risking it, but it worked out. Prints were $335.50, which is a lot. I probably over prepared, honestly. Like, I mean, I only got like 5 of each prints on average, but I had a lot of prints, and I knew I wouldn't sell all my prints, but I just wanted to offer a variety, like, of my artworks. So yeah, and I'll use them in the future, so it's an investment. I also, since it was my first time selling my art, I bought a square reader for $52, and of course I had to build my setup, so I had to buy the cubes from Amazon, which was $86.97. That price includes some of the lamination that I used for my stickers to make my stickers, but the cubes themselves, I got an 8 cube pack for like $47 or something like that. It wasn't very expensive. The cubes are pretty affordable. This is all in Australian dollars because, as you can tell, I'm from Australia. So I got the pink cubes, and I think they were pretty nice. And yeah, those were like all my major costs. Oh, and then my last cost was, because I'm not too sure if I'm going to continue doing conventions and markets, and I'm just not too sure when my next one will be in the future, how far in the future. I didn't purchase like yearly insurance, like public liability insurance, which is what you normally need for a convention to sell legally, and just to protect your goods and stuff, I guess. So I just got enough insurance coverage to cover the 2 days of the convention. That was $80 in total. And yeah, I had no transportation costs because I live like 5 minutes from the place, so that was a score. And yeah, the cost of my first convention, this is being real and honest, because like it is not cheap, especially in Australia, to like do your first convention. And this includes all my stock, table fee, like everything I listed. It's not just the cost of doing that single convention, it was the cost of starting up doing my first convention, and plus stock, all the stock I bought so far, and that was $1,070. It doesn't all add up to that because I bought a few extra things like packaging and stuff that I just added to that final cost, but it's not on screen. So that's my total cost expenses, which I was like preparing not to make back for my first time. I was like, nah, like there's no way. So I was just like hoping to make back table fee, because like really these expenses were mostly investments that I'll be carrying on into my next conventions. So yeah, I was happy with whatever, really. I just wanted to see people like enjoying my art and maybe finding something they liked. So I noticed artists don't really include the price of their stock into the expenses of doing a convention when they talk about it online and stuff. So I wanted to just like share that and show you like the raw cost of starting, especially for the first time, but then the cost of stock on top. So yeah, now let's look at my earnings for the weekend. The event went for just a weekend, so it was 2 days of Saturday and Sunday, and since it was a night market, it went from 2 p.m. I believe till 9 p.m, which honestly I think they were stretching it a little bit too late. Again, I think this was them just testing how a night market would do, especially in Brisbane, compared to like just a regular day convention. So I'll put my earnings on screen and the total earnings from the weekend. As you can see, I did a lot better than I thought I would. I definitely made back table. I almost made back all of my expenses, which is like really good for my first time. And since it was a bit unfortunate. I mean, I know it was my first time, so maybe they placed me near the back because of that, but they placed me pretty much the furthest away from the entry of the convention. So not many people, I noticed many people stayed near the entry and tended to shop at the stores there, and so they wouldn't really filter through to the back where I was. I feel like I may have lost out on a lot of customers due to that, but you never know. It's just like, it was all up to chance, and like, I'm not really mad about it. It was my first time. I still did way better than I thought I would. I'm very, very grateful. So I almost made back all my expenses, which is really good. Then after, I got a commission, so I kind of added that to the earnings and counted that towards it, so that really helped me nearly reach, like, breaking completely even. But if I am to measure it just on like the cost of the table fee, like the cost of just doing that convention and the amount of stock I sold, I did make profit, and I made back my table fee, made back my insurance, made back even the costs of like the stuff I needed to do it for the first time, like the cubes and the square reader and that stuff for the table setup, and I did make a profit, so I'm happy with that. But I'm just gonna keep investing the money back into doing more conventions and this little business I'm trying to do. So thinking about the things that may have affected my earnings from this weekend and this convention, I don't have too much knowledge on my experience with conventions because like this is the only convention I've ever done, so I really only have that to draw off of. But I've watched a lot of other artists' vlogs and like them being open and transparent about vending at conventions and markets and how they've done and the things that affect them, and just watching a lot of that online and becoming familiar with what can affect sales and stuff like that. So in my opinion, I feel like what really affected the outcome of the event was, I mean, for one, that it was advertised very late and with not much notice. So I feel like the attendance was way less than the first convention in Brisbane, Kaicon. It was, don't get me wrong, it was still an amazing event. Like, there's a lot more people than I thought, and it was like still pretty good. I'd say it was like a mid-tier event, and the company itself, Kaicon, it's like, I'd say they do really well in their normal market. It's really good. But just for this one, it seemed like there weren't that many attendees that were planning to come, and so a lot of the attendees that did come were like, they wandered in at the door and bought tickets at the door, because I guess they didn't sell enough tickets that they were still offering sales at the door. So a lot of people were just like walking in and kind of just, you know, window shopping, treating it like an art museum a little bit. But I'm still grateful for so many people. There were so many people there who like were planning on spending their money and like supporting us artists, and it was like really nice meeting all of you and everyone. But that was a big factor in it. And then secondly, the second biggest factor was probably where I was placed towards the back, as I mentioned earlier. And then I'd say that it being a night market from 2 to 9, it was really busy, I'd say around 3 to 5 p.m. But then it would just kind of die down past 6 p.m. and not really get back up. And I wouldn't see many sales past 6 p.m. So that was kind of rough. It was still fine. Like, I'd get some towards the end. There were some like last minutes on the Saturday. The Saturday was definitely a lot better for me than the Sunday. I think Sunday was definitely like window shoppers, because everyone who was planning to go and come and spend their money were really just attending on the Saturday, it seemed. And then, yeah, Sunday was kind of like anyone else wandering in, like going really late till 9 p.m. I don't think that was really necessary. It just seemed like everyone was just at home by that time and not really wanting to stay out for that long at the convention, as it was really just a market and like it encouraged cosplaying and everything, but nothing else really to do. So I feel like everyone was just at home at that point and eating dinner with their families and, you know, spending time with their families after a long day. And then also sales, like what would have affected sales would be like, it's my first time. There's definitely things I need to improve on in marketing my art and, you know, growing an audience and growing people interested in my art, and yeah, just being more out there and providing more variety in products and more, I guess, more variety in pricing of different items, like more expensive goods and some lower expensed, like priced goods. Yeah, I think I should look into creating more high-priced items as well. So I don't need more sales, but maybe less sales and higher transactions. I don't know. I just need to look into things myself a little bit more. But yeah, it was my first time and I shouldn't be expecting a lot, and I wasn't. So, I mean, what I did was quite a lot actually. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. And I feel like there's this like disconnect between Australia, like doing conventions in Australia and in America, because I mean population is just so much larger in America compared to Australia, that the conventions are a lot bigger, way more people, like thousands and thousands, like in the hundreds of thousands of attendees going to them, that like, you know, you're gonna get way more sales just based on that alone. And just like, I mean, the economy everywhere is like going downhill a little bit, but I guess Australia just doesn't have that reach with its conventions. Like maybe it's better in New South Wales and like Sydney and Melbourne with their conventions, but Brisbane, it's not, I don't know, it's not as big. It's still big, like Comic-Con, Supernova, that's all where it's at, but I don't know, just like the markets and smaller conventions, it's just like not as, it's nothing compared to America. So I feel like there's this stigma that Americans look at what we're making at conventions in Australia and they think, oh, that's not much. That's not much at all compared to, you know, lots of artists who are getting like tens in the 10,000s of like earnings, profit, basically, you know, in the 5 digits from just a single convention, even just like a 2-day convention. I feel like that's just not very likely here in Australia, even if you are an established artist who's like done heaps of conventions and basically knows how to get earnings, basically, and earn money. At that point, it's still just like not very likely. For us, like getting a few $1,000s of profit at a convention is like amazing. Like that's doing well, I guess. The artists I've seen in Australia compared to America and stuff, it's just, yeah. And cost of living is just really, really rough at the moment in Australia, so I feel like less people are wanting to spend their money on like luxury goods, which art kind of falls into. People aren't really pouring their money so much into the arts anymore these days. I'm not sure what it's like in America, but maybe it's the same. I'm hearing it's just going downhill in a lot of places, but yeah, especially in Australia, it's just not the same anymore. But yeah, overall I had a great time at the convention. I loved meeting you all, and it's being my first convention, it was just really lovely to see and meet other artists and do it for the first time. Wanting to do it for so long, it's just great being able to do it now, and I plan to do more in the future. It's been hard getting into Supernova and Comic-Con, like the bigger conventions at the moment, because Supernova, oh my god, there's like a rise in people, I guess artists, wanting to sell at conventions lately, and I guess Australia doesn't really meet that demand as much as America. So like there's a huge waiting list on even Supernova for next year, everywhere, in Brisbane, New South Wales, like Sydney, Gold Coast, Brisbane, like it's all a waiting list at the moment. Like it's just too many artists are applying basically, and it's already full even for next year. So I'm not sure when I'll be able to even apply and be considered for one of those bigger events, but I'm still going to be looking out for smaller like art markets, and Kaicon again next year. I'm definitely going to apply for that, and maybe I can look at going to ones in other states maybe, but that'd be a lot further down the track. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep trialing this and having fun. Yep, and hopefully you join me on the ride and can enjoy my products and keep up with my art, because I'd love you to join me. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video and this sporadic convention vlog thing. I just wanted to be like transparent with doing a convention for the first time and financially how that all goes down. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video even a little bit, or enjoy my art and the products I'm offering, feel free to subscribe, head over to my socials, head over to my Instagram, and maybe check out my Etsy and support me through there, or check out my Ko-fi. I have commissions open currently, so feel free to go over there and check out what I have to offer, and yeah, maybe support me. I'd really appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for your time if you've stuck around to the end. I'll see you in my next video, whenever that will be. I don't really have a posting schedule at the moment. I'm just kind of like trialing things out, and yeah. Bye!